I promised it, you've been asking for it. It's time for the one and only Vanguard Zero Gem and Resource Management Guide. Before we begin, I need to immediately give a huge shout out to Fluffy from the Zero Discord, both from my Discord and the Zero Reddit Discord. He was the one that made this guide, and so this will be mostly just a summary. I will, however, leave a link in the description to the Google Drive file so you can actually check it out and read it for yourselves, the entire full thing. So it basically talks about the entire economy of the game and how you can be efficient with your gem spending, and honestly how that makes this game pretty free to play overall as well. So in Zero you have several resources. The first thing is of course your stamina, which is what you use to clear the character fights, which is basically where all your crafting materials come from. These crafting materials are distributed in terms of the generic ones, then the rare pieces, the double rare pieces, and the triple rare pieces that each clan has separately. So this doesn't have a one single currency that the entire game follows, but each clan has their own, which has both its good sides and bad sides, of course. And then of course we have both the general gacha tickets as well as the gacha exchange coupons, where basically you have 10 of them that form into one pack when you go to the shop screen. So that's your main way of opening packs together with the gems. And so both pack tickets as well as gems you gain through just playing the game, logging in, doing your dailies, as well as playing ranked. So those are your main resources that are available to you throughout the game. Now, when you roll the gacha to open your packs and get your cards, now in the Japanese format we do have split banners, so that way you can roll for whichever clans you want. So if you only want, like, I don't know, Shadow Paladin, then you roll the specific banner in the game, but then for example if you want the new stuff, then you roll the new banners. So the actual rates that you can pull in terms of rarities per pack include basically common, per individual card is 80%, and then rares are 13.3% per individual card, and then per pack you will pull 93% certainty of a rare. So basically when you open a pack you are basically guaranteed to get at the very least a rare at 93%, and then double rare comes up at 5% and triple rare at 1.67%. And then there's also a pull rate per individual card. So, and basically in a pack you have 6 cards, and the 6th card will always be a rare or higher, but however the other cards outside of that 6th one also have a chance of being a rare or higher. So I hope that makes sense with this little table. Now of course there is the question of, well, you could have packs, like, I mean, I've done plenty of pack openings and you guys have seen there are packs where you can have multiple triple rares in a single pack. You can have, you know, multiple double rares and SPs as well. That's a whole different question in a single pack as well, but that does require luck, and as you can see these rates are not exactly the friendliest. And so when you get the cards from the gacha, you generally, I mean, you want to get like 4 pieces of like each common and rare, and then when you get, let's say, the 5th piece, like the 5th copy of a card, it gets changed into crafting materials. And now this is different for each rarity of the card. So for example, if you get an additional duplicate rare, you get 20 rare pieces from the dupe that you got. If it's a double rare, you get 25, and then if it's triple rare, you get 30. So this is a interesting way to get some income. And so basically if you keep opening packs for specific clans or specific cards that you want, and you keep getting dupes for other stuff, then you will build up a collection of crafting materials as well. The other way to get these crafting materials outside of character fights and dupes is by disenchanting your SPs. Now, disenchanting for now in the game is only available for SPs. You cannot disenchant normal, triple, or double rare cards, and so this gives you 50 pieces of each. So 50 rare pieces, 50 double rare pieces, and 50 triple rare crystals as well. So it's always going to be 50. Now, for character fights, you have these different difficulties where it goes from very easy, easy, normal, hard, and very hard. And usually, I mean, hard and very hard always have a 5 per day limit, which can be actually reset for 50 gems per day and can be done several times, but then you can also refill your stamina for 100 gems for 75 stamina. And now here you can see in this table the stamina requirements and the drops required, the drops, you know, per difficulty. So you can see that for normal onwards, it's always 15 stamina, meaning that with 75 stamina you get 5 runs in. And so from a normal play, you get basically 0 to 2 double rares dropped. So double rare orbs dropped, sorry. And then from hard, you get 0 to 1 R pieces and triple rare crystals. And then for very hard, you get 0 to 1 triple rare crystals and double rare orbs. So very hard is arguably the one that gets you the most of the stuff that you want. So it might not look like you actually get much out of it, but then there is a lot of maths to consider when it comes to this entire discussion. Now, for the crafting, before we move on, Here is a table also from Fluffy that shows the crafting materials that are required. Generation stones obviously are very easy to get. You probably already have a surplus of them by like the first week of playing this game. And then for rare pieces, to craft a rare you need 100. To craft a double rare you need 200 rare pieces and 100 rare double rare orbs. So that is actually fairly okay and manageable, but it's when we hit the triple rare where things get pretty difficult, because you need 100 triple rare crystals, 200 double rare orbs, and 400 rare pieces. And that is a lot of dupes and a lot of character fight runs that you need to actually go through. So generally when you're playing this game, you want to try and clear the 10 available runs of hard and very hard per day of the clans you actually care about. So for me, for example, these last few weeks I've been clearing Pale Moon and Dimension Police entirely, and then I do one of each of like some other clans just to make sure that I get the daily of doing 4 different character fights. And so now gems, this is the main portion of this guide, is that they are used for 2 different things. Obviously first is the gacha, to roll the cards and open the packs and get a bunch of your stuff, because 100 paid or unpaid gems equals 1 pack, and then if you have spent money on the game, then the paid gems you can do once per day 50 gems for a pack, which is actually quite worth it. Then you have the other use for gems, which is stamina refills, as well as resetting your hard very hards. But stamina refills are the main other place where you'll put your gems, which is basically to restock 75 stamina and you get 5 more runs, which can equal a lot more material. Now, while spending gems for packs is always addicting because opening packs is always fun and exciting, Fluffy shows a really good breakdown of, what spending your gems on different things can really amount to. So you have this side where you open a pack and let's say you got yourself like this visual, for example, of Trapezes, Blaster Blade, and the Chocolat SP. So there are 2 sides, yes, my last Trapezist, or damn, I wanted other clans, why do I keep pulling triple rares for X clan instead of my Y clan? And so this is the reality of gacha. This is just how it's going to be. And so if you are pulling for, let's say, all 4 or all 3 clans in a set that just came out, of course it's worth it to pull the gacha to get your base stuff, all your commons, all your rares, several double rares and triple rares maybe for the clans as well. But then if you only want to have one specific thing, then you really should be doing the character fight. And so here you can see basically some quick maths on why using it for stamina can actually be quite worth it. So here you have 10 clears of a normal character fight of any clan, which is basically 200 gems worth of stamina refills. So basically you get 13, so between 12 and 15 average double rare orbs, and then you also can get really lucky with like 16 to 20, or really unlucky with 8 to 10, but you're still going to get a fair number. And so having considered the fact that to craft a double rare it takes 100 double rare gems, and to craft a triple rare it takes 200, this is only a matter of a few days or a certain amount of gems. And so because every 10 pull in the gacha is worth 1,000 gems, you can already see how this can convert into just putting it into character fights. So here, this is really the point that drives it home. If you use normal mode for context, spending a 10 pull equivalent of gems is worth about 60 to 75 double rare orbs on average. This is equivalent to duplicating 2 to 3 double rares from the gacha on your supposed 10 pull. So this already makes it pretty worth it. But the thing that drives it home is that this game does double drop events. So seasons in this game last 2 weeks, and at the end of each season you do 4 days of double drops. So they do double drops for easy and normal, and then they do double drops for hard and very hard, where, as you guessed it, the drops you get are doubled. So you basically get twice the amount of double rare orbs, twice the amount of triple rare crystals, and the rare gems as well. So all that good stuff can come in. Now, the one thing that I personally always struggle with is having a good management of my R pieces. So my rare pieces, actually, not the triple rares, not the double rares, but the rares, because you need a lot, like 400 just to craft a triple rare. So it's easy to run out of them because you need to keep getting dupe rares. And so this is kind of the part where you actually want to put in some time into the actual gacha and roll a bit, because as you just roll your base 50, 60, 70 packs or something, you will usually have a pretty good income of those rare pieces, because getting the rares is pretty easy, and then as you're trying to fish for those double rares and triple rares, you're going to start running into more and more and more, and that way that once you go away from the gacha and go focus on the character fights and start going in on just like getting your double rare and triple rare materials, you'll have already gotten enough of the rare pieces to actually supply you crafting those triples and doubles. Now there's another portion of this guide which also talks about resetting the challenge limit / mat flipping. So basically there's a bunch of maths involved here where you basically have 393 stamina per day naturally, and this equates to 5 times full clears of hard and very hard. So you get 375 with 18 leftover stamina. And so you basically get to essentially get 18 to 24 extra triple rare crystals on average. And then, I mean, throughout the duration of that double drop event, you basically get a lot of them in total. And all it really costs you is just like a few hundred gems, which could, like, sure, you could have spent on packs, but those packs could have just gotten you nothing but rares. So that's something important to consider. And so basically, this entire guide, I mean, it mostly applies to people that want to focus on 1 or 2 clans, maybe 3. And there's also, I'm going to talk about the myth of 2 clans at a time that Fluffy focuses on, and we're going to talk about that in quite some detail. But you basically want to do this when you are essentially hoarding materials for your main clan. So for example, for me, I am a Dimension Police main, and Great Dayusha will release in Japan in the Japanese format probably in a month or so. And so basically I've been hoarding all these materials and doing all these character fight clears and resetting my stamina just to make sure that I can craft at least 3 Great Dayushas, or 4 if possible. But I'm also doing Pale Moon character fights because I also want Lukier that will probably release at the same time. So now I have enough materials to craft 2 Lukiers and 2 Great Dayushas just from doing this idly, you know, for the duration of a couple weeks. And so now when the new cards come out, I'll be able to actually craft them without relying on the gacha very easily. Now, of course, if you want to try out a new clan, you can always just, you know, focus in on it, and then it will take a little bit of time, but you will be able to actually build up to it, and that's why the crafting system really does exist. Now, here is where Fluffy also talks about the 2 clans at a time myth. So basically, people, like myself included, often say that this game is free to play unless you want to play every single clan. Like, that is just the reality of it. However, you can actually play 2 clans at a time realistically without necessarily only playing those 2 clans. Like, let's say right now I'm only building up Dimension Police and Pale Moon. However, after Lukier comes out, I don't really care about Pale Moon until, I mean, we get into the Break Right era. So for example, until then I can choose to focus on something else. So you can essentially just progress on 2 clans until you get to a point that you want. So for example, for me, that point for Pale Moon would be Lukier's release, and then I can just switch my second clan focus to something else while still, you know, building up materials for Dimension Police. So that's kind of the easy way to get around that. Here is also an example of someone that is entirely free to play, that has simply been farming and not spent a single dime on this game. And as you can see, the just vast array of double rares, triple rares is insane, and just the decks that you can build with this is also very impressive. So honestly, it is easy to be free to play in this game, and the rank rewards also make that much more accessible as well. So now, just as like a TLDR, I'm going to cover the do's and don'ts of spending gems. So you should not spend your gems or even your tickets to roll for only specific 1 or 2 doubles and triples simply because they're on rate up. So for example, right now in the Japanese server, there is, like, I've built up my Narukami, and I'll be able to build up Azel once I get to Legend 30 in Ranked, but then I still need a lot of stuff for Angels, but most of that stuff is actually only triples. So, and there's only like 1 or 2 triples I actually need. So I'm basically going to run into a bunch of dupes for the other clans while potentially not getting any angels. So it's important to not spend all your gems and tickets on packs like that, simply because you won't actually get much out of it unless you're really lucky. Of course, if you're ready to spend money on the game, then you can spend all your gems and tickets as much as you want, because you're going to put in money anyway to not only open packs, but you're also going to put in money to reset your stamina. So in that case, it doesn't really matter. So if you're planning to spend a lot on the game, it really doesn't, like, this guide does not really apply to you. You should spend your gems as well as your pack tickets, of course, on clans that you have nothing for. So for example, just now we had the Limit Break format come into 0 in the Japanese server, and basically, of course, all 4 clans are brand new, so everybody is opening packs, spending gems, spending tickets just to get the base rares, double rares and stuff, just to actually build those clans. And above all else, never ever spend gems and tickets to roll for a clan that is not on rate up. Now, this was only an issue before when we had one merged clan pool, but now, I mean, this will be an issue in the English version, but in the Japanese version they have split the gacha and they do rate ups for different clans, so you can actually get the stuff you want pretty easily thanks to those banners. But in English this does apply. So if you started like the month after Bermuda came out and Bermuda is not on rate up but you want Bermuda, do not roll for Bermuda. Wait for the pack split, wait for, you know, a raid up, because what they do sometimes is single clan raid ups, which are very, very useful, and I will talk about that now. So you should absolutely, if you want to build a one single clan, you should 100% roll on the one clan pickup banners. They've been doing this for basically the recent few sets. So they did it for Bermuda, they did separate ones for Royals, Kagura, OTT, and Novas and Shadows, and so it's likely that they'll do them now for Golds, Narukami, etc. So if you need a lot of stuff for one clan and you don't have a lot of the staples that have released throughout the different sets, you absolutely should commit to these clan banners that usually last a couple days. So they will definitely come to English as well, so make sure you look out for that too. Now, some do's and don'ts for stamina for character fights. You should not spend all your gems on refilling stamina if you have nothing for the clan. This is pretty self-explanatory. However, you should spend gems to refill stamina if you need to build up some double rares and triple rares. And here he actually gives nice examples, with myself included, that, you know, I love Dimension Please and Deyusha, and so therefore I would like to build up a collection of cards for that clan, especially the stuff that are coming in. So you should definitely not roll the gacha to get those last few doubles and triples, but instead focus on refilling stamina. And 100% you should at least save some gems on refilling stamina during the double drop events. Like, this is the best time to be getting your drops, your materials for crafting. So 100% you should always spend at least a couple hundred gems on refilling stamina for those clans that you like. Like, every time a double drop comes up, I usually put in at least like 500 to 800 gems, I think, into just resetting my stamina to do more of like the hard and very hard and normal character fights for my favorite clans. So you should absolutely do that as well during those double drop rates. So the only part that I have not covered so far that I will actually leave out of this video is the clan events, and I'm going to wait for when the clan events actually come to the English server, probably sometime in May, and then I think that will be a bit more accurate to cover, simply because then it'll be a bit more relevant information. But I hope this does help. The general message, the real TLDR, is open packs until you have a good collection of rares and some double rares and like a good amount of rare materials, and then just commit to character fights, especially if you only need stuff for one more clan and things like that. And then make sure that, I mean, people always ask me, how do you have so many packs? And I mean, outside of the Limit Break banner, as well as the like time that DP came out, I usually just save. Like, you play ranked a lot, you can technically get infinite packs by VP farming, which I'll do a separate video on, and then like, you really can abuse the fact that you can get as many packs as you want for every 100,000 VP. So yeah, there is a lot that you can do in this game, and there's a lot to cover, but I hope that this first gem guide does help you guys a lot. Make sure to check out Fluffy's article. Thank him if you ever see him on Discords and on the Reddit and any social media, because this gem guide is amazing. You should read through it. If you ever have doubts, just come back to it, and I think it's definitely going to take you a long way. So on that note, thank you so much for watching. Thank you to the channel members that support the channel, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.